Not.
Life without Brevin Jordan begins, and it was a very eventful day, to say the very least, at practice. It is SNL. It is also 53-man exercise 2.0 day. So we got a hell of a lot to get into in such little time.
Mm-hmm. So much. I mean, look, lots of different things just popped up in the middle of this practice that maybe there's something to monitor for the next couple of days, and maybe it's just nothing. But offensive line stuff, really good day from an unexpected wide receiver who could make the roster, and we'll get to all of it, and we'll see how that adjusts and changes and fluctuates our 53-man roster exercise too.
So we started the day with the news that Brevin Jordan is going on season-ending injury. I don't think there's too much of a surprise by that. But we started to wonder, what is it going to look like? How are they going to handle it? I think an element of it that doesn't really get spoken of very much is that he's a good special teamer.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to replace that as well. And there's names being thrown out there. I just don't know that there's like a name outside that is anything better than what they already got in the building with Irv Smith. Lachey participated today, higher up on the depth chart. Didn't notice anything crazy from him.
It's such a nice way to say a guy had an uneventful day. He participated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was more eventful than what we've gotten used to. And then Jakob Johnson was out there as well. Got to think his opportunity increases.
Yeah, absolutely. I went through the free agent tight ends, and there's nothing of note out there. And certainly not anybody that you'd feel like, we got to get him in the building. He can absolutely take Brevin Jordan's spot. Like, there's really not. And a lot of them that are available are older players or broken down players.
Well, you also find yourself in a situation where, you're throwing out this name, and okay, well, maybe he's your third tight end. He doesn't play special teams. So like what value are you really getting there when it comes to the Jordan thing? So I don't know how they're going to juggle it. We'll try to act out what we think they may or may not do. But that was where they were at. On the super chat, Logan Taylor says, any tight ends worth going after to fill Brevin's spot? I think we just answered that. No, sir.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, again, I looked through the names. There's nobody there unless you want 42-year-old Mercedes Lewis.
HDAV Traveler says, afternoon. Good afternoon, my friend.
Good to see you, my friend.
So then we go to practice itself, and there was some confusing stuff that went on in practice. We'll try to solve the mystery of Blake Fisher. I don't know what was going on. We know that he's been bad. He wasn't very good today either, by the way. But for some reason, Titus Howard after, I would say, at some point during team one, Blake Fisher wasn't getting these second team reps. And then all of a sudden, Titus Howard didn't leave practice. He was still on the side holding his helmet, looked fine, chilling. And Blake Fisher, after not even being with the twos, was suddenly thrown to the ones because Titus Howard was having an off day, which may or may not have been planned. I don't know.
Now, Titus Howard started the day at right tackle. So it's not like Fisher replaced Titus Howard from the jump. No, Titus Howard began the day at right tackle. And then eventually Blake Fisher played right tackle with the ones. And like Landry said, didn't look very good. He didn't do a good job. But that is quite the mystery. And Titus Howard had his helmet, was on the sideline. So I don't know if it was a built-in light day. I mean, they have a walkthrough tomorrow before joint practice. So I can't imagine that they had to give a guy a day off. Maybe he just wasn't feeling good, bubble guts, whatever. But Blake Fisher got thrown in there to the Wolves.
Yeah, and I don't know what the hell it was. Some independent observations, and we'll get to the Blake Fisher thing. There was only two guys in the Petrie spot, and it was Jalen Petrie and Arthur Mollett, who, by the way, Arthur Mollett had a damn good day today. He's the only guy working inside, just strictly inside at this point. with Petrie. I thought it was interesting. Miles Bryant worked out as a safety today. Actually played safety. So they Miles Bryant, we've seen him working inside a little bit, and he's done pretty good. But now Miles Bryant in Indy drills was working with the safeties, and he actually came in during the final team period of red zone. He came in as a safety.
They always kind of slide in there, just like on the back end of the Miles Bryant bio when somebody talks about him, like, hey, he's real versatile. He can play inside. He can even play safety. They just kind of like throw that in there. Well, we got to see it today. And that's, I mean, you're thinking about that. Miles Bryant's been here, emergency backup for Petrie. And he's got a good candidacy if he can help you a little bit at safety and special teams. He's got a real good candidacy even over Jalen Mills, who they brought in recently to help fill out the safety room with the injuries they're dealing with.
Yeah, and they had Jalen Mills out there. He's wearing number 26. He doesn't have a nameplate yet. Pretty good size compared to the other guys that we're talking about. Nick Chubb was back in blue, so he was contact. You could hit him today. And in the running back line, Dameon Pierce was kind of leading the line, though. He was the one that was going first. It had been Chubb, but it was Dameon Pierce today going first in the RB drills, which were right in front of us. So we go to one-on-ones. I was observing wide receivers versus corners. Cody, what the hell were you doing?
I was watching running backs versus safeties and linebackers.
Do we want to start with the running backs or do we want to start with the WRs?
Well, let the people go with the wide receivers. That's kind of one of the big stories of the day.
All right, so at wide receiver, here's every rep of one-on-one. Kamari Lassiter makes it hard for Nico Collins on a slant. However, Nico Collins able to catch it. He had one of his best days. Not that he's been having bad days. Sometimes you just kind of him and Stingley are going through battles, and you don't necessarily see him catch a ton of passes. He's a game time player. Then, I mean, come on. Dip set, Christian Kirk versus Jalen Petrie. That's mouse in the house. A fade. Christian Kirk been picking on Petrie a lot. Then John Metchie. Derek Stingley was guarding John Metchie. John Metchie caught the pass off of Derek Stingley. Very solid, precise route. John Metchie with the catch. Now, my observation here is a couple of things. Number one, John Metchie's been having a hell of a camp since that drop that he had. I want to say day 4 or something. But the other thing is they're putting Derek Stingley on him. So I feel like that is some sort of test. And it has me, I can't believe I'm going to say this. It has me asking the question, is John Metchie alive? We'll discuss that after we get through this, and then we'll get to the running backs, and we'll do the 53-man exercise. But let's finish up these reps because John Metchie, we'll hear from him again. Then you had a out by Higgins on Jalen Smith. Just a good battle, but Higgins catches it. Mollett with the first pass breakup. A pass breakup on Jalen Knoll. He gets pretty excited. Then a penalty on Tremont Smith in the back of the end zone on Justin Watson. Probably didn't need to do that, but he did. Then Davis Mills comes in. Braxton Berrios. He basically wheeled Miles Bryant into a pole. He just basically just went in the back of the end zone. Miles Bryant runs into the goalpost. Then Xavier Hutchinson versus D'Angelo Ross. I guess they don't want to work on routes against D'Angelo Ross because they already know the results, so they just ran the typical fade, and it was an incomplete pass. So a little bit of a battle there. Yeah, incomplete pass against
not perfect passer rating against D'Angelo Ross, huh?
Nope. Then Damon Arnett with a pass breakup on Cephas. Then Christian Kirk with just the easy work on Jalen Petrie. This was just a jock dropper. Then you had a number 85 from Minnesota.
Daniel Jackson.
Daniel Jackson up the middle against Tremont Smith. Easy catch. Then Stroud comes back on. Another battle between Nico Collins and Kamari Lassiter. He hits him on the out. Then another PBU by Mollett against Knoll. So that's 2 PBUs in one-on-ones both from Arthur Mollett, who's the only guy working on the inside with Petrie today, with Miles Bryant playing safety. Then John Metchie against Stingley, just back shoulder city. Perfectly thrown by Stroud, perfectly caught by Metchie. Really good, actually pretty decent coverage by Stingley. But John Metchie, 2 for 2 against Derek Stingley in one-on-ones, which, I mean, it's one-on-one, so it'll happen. Then Davis Mills comes in, an incomplete pass intended for Higgins. He was battling Smith. Berrios hits an out on Miles Bryant. Incomplete fade intended for Watson against D'Angelo Ross. That's 2 incompletions. They're throwing fades on him.
Well, they need to put Super Metchie versus Super Ross and really find out.
Number 8. And then Xavier Johnson with the easy work on Damon Arnett. And then, man, Jackson decided he wanted to get some of that Petrie, completely drops Petrie at the line of scrimmage, but then a bad throw. And he maybe could have caught it, but he dropped Petrie relatively easily. So you never want Petrie in one-on-one coverage. You don't want really many NFL receivers one-on-one, especially with no pass rush. But I got to say, like, the biggest thing that I'm starting to see here is John Metchie alive? And here's my case for it. And I've been very dismissive of it for a number of reasons. First of all, John Metchie hasn't really completely put it together with the Texans in his 3 years. Obviously, the 1 year, we know what happened. But the other thing is all the receivers that they brought in and the way that D'Amico was talking about Justin Watson when Justin Watson was going through the offseason activities. Here's my thing now, though. Xavier Hutchinson looks far superior to Justin Watson in every area. So it's not, he's taken a step up and he's clearly above Justin Watson. John Metchie's also taken a step up and he's up here now as well. And he's performing at a good level and he has chemistry with the quarterback. You also just lost someone who was probably going to be somewhat of a receiving threat for you. Granted, it was at a different position, but you lost someone who has pretty good chemistry with CJ Stroud, and you lost him, so you might have to get a little bit more creative in the way that you play offense. Much like where you adjust when Caley was with the Patriots, wasn't his decision, but when they had 2 good tight ends, they ran 2 tight end sets all the time. When they had 2 good slots, they ran 2 slots all the time. So I think it comes down to this. If we think the Texans are going to keep 7 receivers, and that's been kind of the discussion, and I asked this yesterday too, so this has kind of been building. If they're going to keep 7 receivers, and one of them is going to be Braxton Berrios, because Braxton Berrios is a good return guy, and he's also had a good showing, then I think it comes down to John Metchie versus Justin Watson. Now, the one thing that I can say without any hesitation, and I don't think you can really disagree with this unless you want to, but you've been out there, so I trust your opinion on it. John Metchie's the superior receiver right now to Justin Watson. Like, it's not, I don't even know that it's very close when it comes to making plays on offense. It feels like he is the superior guy.
I would agree he's been better than Justin Watson, absolutely.
Yeah, he's been better like in practice. He also has the chemistry, and I wonder if there's a chance that maybe we see John Metchie wake from being buried alive by us to where he plays his way onto this roster and they say goodbye to Justin Watson. It'll be an interesting decision that we have to make in the 53-man exercise coming up. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle it as well.
The big pushback would be, hey, John Metchie doesn't do as much special team stuff as Watson does. I mean, they've put him into some more special teams spots and some special teams moments, but he doesn't do as much as Watson does or has done. So, but if you're going to have Xavier Hutchinson be as good as he's been and also be able to use him on special teams, you can maybe shoehorn in a non-special teams forward depth piece at wide receiver like Metchie.
Yeah, so that's just something that came to my mind when I was watching this, and I think it's now Watson versus Metchie. Let's go to the running backs. Cody was watching the running backs and the linebackers in one-on-one.
Yeah, so tight ends and running backs versus safeties and linebackers. Kalen Bullock had a really good start to this thing against Dalton Schultz. Daria Gumbawale was, uncoverable. He just absolutely shook the pants off of Azeez Al-Shire. Cade Stover looks really good in this drill too, and I know it's one-on-one. It's kind of set up for the offense, but Stover looks smooth and fluid running his routes, which is not something you would have said last year. He beat Russ Yeast. Nick Chubb actually got loose against Henry To'o at one point. EJ Speed locked up Woody Marks, which was a little bit of a disappointing situation. Luke Lachey had a really nice moment against Russ Yeast. He just left him in the dust. Jawar Jordan got loose against Jake Hansen. Easy win for him. Just used the speed and got outside. Hansen could never recover. Jackson Woodard had a nice rep. I didn't see exactly who he was defending. British Brooks had a great route, got wide open against Nick Neiman. Really impressive route. One of the better ones from the running backs on the day. Jalen Mills was able to kind of get in Schultz's way, but there was a miscommunication between Schultz and the quarterbacks. Like, it was one of those where they threw it and he was kind of pointing and they were kind of pointing. So I blame that one on the quarterbacks, not Schultz. Jamal Hill had a really nice moment against J.J. Taylor. J.J. Taylor's not easy to defend in this drill, and Jamal Taylor was right there with him. Stover was next up against Bullock, and, he easily hit a route, got open, put his body between Bullock and the ball and was there to catch the ball. And then I put a star next to this next play because he just absolutely destroyed Azeez Al-Shire. Just got him turned around a couple of different times, wide open. No Damian Pierce in this drill, by the way, which I thought was interesting. Henry To'o got revenge on Nick Chubb, locked him up over near the sideline. Luke Lachey had another win. I didn't see who the defender was on him. Woody Marks got revenge on EJ Speed. Just when Woody Marks nails it, he leaves guys in the dust.
He's a nasty receiver.
Schultz got a win, but it was a bad throw too far in front of him. And then Jawar Jordan finished the rep portion with a deep one. I didn't see who was defending him, but a deep corner catch from Jawar Jordan out of the backfield. So pretty successful for the guys out of the backfield against these linebackers. Tough drill for the linebackers and the safeties, but I would go mostly offense, especially with how well Stover and Schultz looked in some of those reps. You're going to rely on those guys because no Brevin Jordan. So those are your tight ends you're going to throw to. So Stover looking good, running routes is a really good development for this team.
Yeah, and I think Brooks is someone to keep an eye on with what they do. I think he's underrated when it comes to those type of elements. It's just interesting how last year he's doing tight end and fullback drills, and now all of a sudden it's like when he does things that require those skills, he looks better than you think he would, which I guess makes sense since he does have that experience. But then you just wonder, like, how do they handle that whole thing? That's something I
wonder what he played when he was growing up in Pee Wee, because he does not look like a guy that's played running back his whole life. No. Just the way that he goes down in special teams and can make a play, and it doesn't look like a guy that's only ever played running back. And look, he may have put some extra work in that, knowing that that's a way he can make the roster after what happened last year. So maybe he put a little extra effort into making sure his tackling is good. But for him to get loose on routes against linebackers, it was a good job by him. And Neiman's here is sort of a cover backer, and he gets loose on him. It's a good job.
So an install, Christian Harris was still with the first team. You had the offensive line left to right that we've become used to with Ursary, Lakin Tomlinson, Andrews, Ingram, and then Titus Howard at right tackle. So Titus Howard was at right tackle on install. Maybe they were putting him on the half Petrie or Pierce Harris stuff that we saw recently. It just didn't seem to be the case. On special teams, you had Cade in the Brevin spot. And then we get to some 7-on-7 action.
7-on-7, it started with like a lot of juice to it, and then it didn't really finish like as an extremely like intense competitive portion of practice. Like I thought the beginning where you had CJ Stroud just kind of slinging it around, Barrios beat Petrie pretty, like I thought there was a lot of good competitive reps at the beginning, and then it kind of felt like they went through the motions at the end, but I digress. So 7-on-7 started with a pass behind Nico Collins from CJ Stroud. Stroud found Barrios. He just absolutely got loose on Jalen Petrie. Stop me if you've heard that one before. Then Stroud found Jalen Noel, and this was a cool one because it's one of those where Noel motioned and was kind of in motion as the play started, and he was able to get out there and get loose for a catch. And then Christian Kirk, Mr. Reliable, a little quick pass to the left from CJ Stroud. Then it was time for Davis Mills. Mills got it out there to Xavier Johnson, who then dropped it when the defender made contact with him. Jaden Higgins had a really nice
defender was Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills ripped it out of his hand, which was kind of a little extra for 7-on-7. Like I guess it was a good play, but he kind of ripped it out of his hands after he caught it, type of thing. I don't know. I mean, Jalen Mills was probably just foaming out the mouth to get something going.
Yeah, hadn't been on the football field, so he's just pumped to be out there. Higgins got loose, pass from Mills against Tremont Smith on a nice crosser. It's a good job by him. Little dump pass to Luke Lachey, who looked much better in drills than in teams, in my opinion. And then we had a finish up to 7-on-7 here with Keaton Slovis to Dalton Schultz. Nice little easy pass into the middle. And those tight ends do a pretty good job, and I've seen it a lot from Xavier Hutchinson too. They just do a good job sitting down in the zone when it's there and finding themselves open. So it's a good job there.
All right, so I don't know what happened here. This is where it gets a little bit interesting as we go to team one. So we have Christian Harris in. So he's going through teamwork. There's a dump to Higgins. Then Chubb does his vintage stuffed at the line of scrimmage and run an extra 25 yards afterwards. Damian Pierce then with a cameo. So you have Pierce and Harris both getting teamwork for the first time, which is absolutely huge. That was the biggest takeaway here. And then a little bit of confusion because you look up and Blake Fisher was not with the second team to start. They actually had their newly signed tackle, Connor McDermott, with the second team. And then Titus Howard leaves the field. Nothing dramatic, no trainer, no nothing. Has his helmet in his hand, and Blake Fisher is suddenly with the ones, and he finishes up with the threes in team one. So it was interesting. I don't know, like I've heard different interpretations, but there's been a lot of stuff that has gone on with that.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, because if it was serious, Titus Howard would have left the field. Titus Howard would not have been standing on the sideline with his helmet if he had a concussion. Titus Howard would not have been standing on the sideline with his helmet if he had a knee injury or a foot injury or a chest or arm. Or anything. Like if he was hurt, he would not have stood on the field and stayed on the field. So could it be something as simple as, Howard was a little under the weather, summer flu, and they just wanted to limit the reps for him? It could be that simple. But it's pretty clear where Blake Fisher is in the right tackle availability rankings. It's behind Ariante Ursery. It's behind Titus Howard. And then in an emergency, they have to put Blake Fisher out there at right tackle.
All right. Well, we'll get Cody back in a sec. I think he's got to make he's got to make a pit stop. I think he's got something stuck in his throat. They gave the media a lot of food after. Maybe Cody wasn't like washing it down appropriately. Not sure. But the Blake Fisher confusion. Look, we've all watched him play. Like, we know what it is. Like, he was not with the second team, and initially Titus was with the first. Now, was that planned? Don't know. Sometimes when you look down and then you look up, like you might miss a play or you might miss someone getting hurt. Titus Howard clearly wasn't hurt. Blake Fisher wasn't originally with the twos. And then all of a sudden he's with the ones. And oh, by the way, he didn't look great in that role. So that was kind of the confusing part. We then go to team 2. Christian Harrison with Azeez Al-Shire just looks nasty out there. Number 48 and 0 by each other. You had Petrie out there as well. There was a misfire to Stingley from CJ Stroud. Misfire to Stingley to Stingley in coverage on Higgins. Then he threw it across the middle to Nico Collins. Nico Collins catches it. Quick reps for CJ Stroud. In comes Davis Mills. Jalen Mills with a real pass breakup, not a 7-on-7 pass breakup, but an actual pass breakup. Number 26, Jalen Mills, who they just signed. Really too early to say whether he looked good or not, but he definitely has a much more intimidating presence than some of the other safeties that they have out there. Then we had a Mario Edwards sack, and he made there was no swarm sack on this. It was a sack, and he started throwing his hands up, looking like a crazy mofo, doing his thing. Then Stroud comes back in, a slant to Nico. Titus Howard's still on the side. I'm kind of looking. As me and Stutz are just saying, where is Titus? Where is Titus? There he is. He's holding his helmet. Then a Will Anderson sack, and then Davis Mills comes in. He hits Cade Stover on a slant. Then nothing. And then Mertz gets a rep. And my God, this guy has kept all the momentum he had from the preseason opener because he throws a pick 6 to Jamal Hill. Hashtag Jamal Hill season to end team 2. And we're just wondering what's going on with Titus Howard and Blake Fisher. Where is this going? What's going on?
Yeah, and at one moment we saw like Darrell Taylor leave the field with a trainer, and they went into the cool tent. And I was like, okay, well, maybe Titus just got overheated. Well, if he was overheated, he didn't go in the cool tent. So it's like there's so many questions that went unanswered with what was wrong with Titus, because it wouldn't be, well, let's get Blake Fisher a look at right tackle. That's not really what they're doing at this point in camp. That's not the approach. So it was a very curious situation. And if it was just a half day for Titus, then I guess it's the right time for a half day, because maybe he'll be super busy in the joint practice, and maybe he's going to play in the preseason game as well. But very weird timing.
I just didn't know what was going on there. I had no idea. And I mean,
and then Fisher even left at one point, and Deculus played right tackle.
People thought he was dehydrated or tired or something. Like, I don't know. I just don't know. So the reality is Blake Fisher's he's not your first team tackle.
Nope.
And we don't know whether he's the second. By the way, I thought the new guy looked fine.
He's big, man. I didn't realize how big he was.
He looked fine. He looked better than Blake Fisher has. I mean, I know it's very early, but I mean, he looked better than Blake Fisher has. So
yeah,
and Blake Fisher still struggled. So
it's not like he got this opportunity and reset our expectations. Like he had a typical Blake Fisher day.
So then there was a 5-minute break. Then we go to team 3. Couple of bleep runs up the middle. There was a high pass to Nico on the sideline from CJ. Not this. CJ kind of cooled off here. And then you had Lachey and 43 on the field at the same time. Kind of interesting. Jakob Johnson and Lachey. And a nice little run up the middle for Nick Chubb. This was like old school type football. Then Berrios wide open out of the slot. Would have been a touchdown easily. CJ Stroud completely missed this throw. This is probably one of CJ Stroud's 2 worst misses of camp. The first one was the right corner of the end zone to Nico Collins on day 3 at the Greenbrier, I think. And number 2 was this one. And this one was easy.
Man, just
easy breezy.
It even body language police. CJ was not pleased with himself. Not pleased with himself after this one.
And he should not have been. Then there was an interception by Kamari Lassiter. Awkward communication, it looked like, what CJ wanted him to do. Lassiter with the INT. Then we had an Austin Deculus right tackle rep with the first team, which, God, this is a fun time. Then Davis Mills comes in. Marks wide right, wide left, just a couple of runs. Arthur Mollett with another PBU, his 3rd of practice. Then the ball goes off of Xavier Johnson's chest, and they had a few minutes left in the period. And at this point, D'Amico just called it. I don't know if it was because it was an ass ugly display or if he just wanted to get the hell out of this heat. But
they had 4 minutes left in the team 3 period. And D'Amico Ryans goes, special teams.
He was like, get this garbage off the field.
Special teams.
So then we go to during special teams, Darrell Taylor, he walked off the field under his own power, but he had a trainer. I'm assuming he was hot. I'll be honest, man. You go to – I don't know how they're going to play this because I think they might want to go to West Virginia longer next year. I could see that. But I don't know how you play this where you go there and then you come into this heat. Like you return to this heat. Because it was – I love the heat, but it did feel a little bit different.
It felt very – I mean, and this is the middle of the day too. It's not like their normal practice time. They're usually done by the time they started today. So they were in the heat of the day, and they might have been okay if they'd gone at their normal time, but they started a little bit later, and it was a warm one, and you saw some. I mean, they even built in breaks that weren't officially on the schedule too. So they were pretty cognizant. D'Amico Ryans mentioned, he said, afterwards, this is one of those practices where I'm proud of our guys for keeping their head on straight. From a between the ears standpoint, because you got to focus. It was hot. And as Landry mentioned, Darrell Taylor left the field and went to the cool. They have a cooling room over off the side of the field. So it was a warm one. All right, let's talk a little bit about that special teams period. Special teams kickoff units, Tremont Smith and Jawar Jordan, and they were doing just kind of walkthrough stuff. But I am interested to see who is available to them for kickoff. So Tremont Smith, Jawar Jordan, Woody Marks and Braxton Berrios teamed up on one kickoff. And John Metchie and Jalen Knoll teamed up on one kickoff. And of those guys that we think are for sure on the roster, Tremont Smith, Woody Marks, and Jalen Knoll, like if Metchie can help on kickoffs and you're trying to squeeze him in there as one of the last wide receivers, that certainly helps his candidacy. Obviously, Berrios needs to be able to do everything on special teams to keep his job candidacy up. It'd be nice to see Woody Marks in there on kickoffs from time to time too. So they had a couple of different, and it was, and I don't feel bad for the Woody Marks, Miles Bryant mess up the other day, because you know what wide receivers coach Ben McDaniels did? They were getting ready for kickoff, the second kickoff, and he goes, Braxton, right, Bryant left. And all the returners looked at each other because Miles Bryant was on the coverage team. And he's like, Bryant left. And he looks around, he looks at Woody Marks, and he goes, Marks left. So they even get the coaches sometimes with those double numbers.
So team 4 was red zone. And this was not great for the first team offense.
They were sloppy today. After being so crisp yesterday, they were sloppy today.
Not good. So you had the linebackers that started camp, To'o and Aziz. You had an out to Christian Kirk, short out. Then you had a rollout. CJ throws it. Looks like the ball slips out of his hands. Then you had a perfectly done job by CJ Stroud where he works the entire field, gets rid of it quickly to Higgins in space. They get down to the 7. So 1st and goal from the 7. You had a boot run from CJ Stroud. Could have been a touchdown.
Petrie coverage on Higgins, by the way.
Yeah, not great. But maybe could have been a touchdown. Instead, they call it at the 5. There's a battle between Kamari Lassiter and Nico Collins, incomplete. Then from the 5, Azeez Al-Shire all over Christian Kirk. D'Amico Ryans, I think it's the most excited he got all of camp. I actually asked him about Aziz's coverage, and he said that Azeez critiques himself more than he does. So it's not really something he had to tell him to work on, but he's been pleased with it. Then 4th and goal, CJ throws the out. Derek Stingley jumps on the out. Derek Stingley intercepts the pass. Derek Stingley punts the ball back in the direction of the offense, letting them know, don't bring that shit over here. Stay just calling me and Nico a wash. Then we go to Davis Mills. We had a pitch to Taylor with space, a handoff to Taylor up the middle. They bring in Miles Bryant at safety, which we previously mentioned and observed. That's what he was practicing at in pregame. Then British Brooks, nice hard run up the middle, moves the chains to the 8, 1st and goal from the 8. Damon Arnett and Jalen Knoll, a little bit of a battle, incomplete pass. Then on 2nd down, Woody Marks, little misdirection pitch, kind of let's not run that one again. And then they just say, okay.
Oh, you didn't like the pitch? I counted as a touchdown.
I guess he got up the field for sure. I mean, I think he might have gotten tackled before he made the cut and started cutting up field, but
maybe I'm being too nice to the rookie. I counted it as a touchdown on the pitch.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he probably would have got tackled back there, but who knows? But D'Amico had enough, and he once again, a couple minutes left. Let's stop this. We're done. Bye.
Let's finish. Let's finish up the slop. Well, if they play like that against the Panthers on enjoying practice, it's going to be a long ass day.
All right, let's go to the chat before we get to the 53-man exercise here on SNL. You ain't never hate. Swarm. Von Clutch says, "What would it cost to get Zach Ertz?" Did I miss something? He's one of Jaden Daniels' like safety blankets. I think it would be. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I think the price of it, I don't keep up with the price. Like, is it $79.99? How much is Madden now? I think probably like 88 with tax or something. About $100. About $100, you can probably go get Ertz on the Texans. You'll just have to do it playing Madden.
Not available.
Trill Kick X says, "Did y'all see the new sound system?" We did. That's why Cody was so roughed up. He had so much like extra food in his like mouth that he was like dying.
You don't know why I had to step away. You don't know what caused that. You have no idea. It sounded a little louder and a little clearer to me.
But yeah, the stadium looks a lot nicer. The color of the screen and all that, it looks a lot newer. It looks a lot nicer for sure.
Four times more defined than previously on the video boards. So they look great.
Yeah, they look good, and they got a lot of new food. I would recommend, if you were partaking in any of this food, I would say the Wagyu cheesesteak.
That was very good.
And you don't even like cheesesteak.
And I don't even like cheesesteak, but that was very good.
Yeah, the Wagyu cheesesteak, very soft, very good.
Yep. Our buddy Rafi from Craft Pete is going to be in the club level this year too. So.
Yeah, and they got the chicken gyro. They didn't have it there though. You know, can't win them all.
He did have a stadium exclusive item, which was the Mediterranean chicken nachos, which looked very good.
Rich Boy J says, off topic, what was the bigger, better play? Deshaun's Houdini play against the Bills or Stroud to Hutch versus Chargers? Deshaun, 100%. I don't even think that's close. That was a Deshaun saves all butts moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that's close. Because I think there's a chance you could still win that Chargers game.
Even with the offense just stinking the whole time.
Yeah, Deshaun just completely bailed him out there. And that was just one of a few plays that Deshaun made. Evan says Metchie had some decent moments last year. He had some flashes of potential in some games last year, especially in that divisional game against KC.
He did. I'm not trying to be flippant, but I don't agree.
So you disagree with that?
I just simply disagree with Evan's statement.
I mean, he had 2 catches for 35 yards against Kansas City. So I guess if that's the especially, then that's not really like flashing very much. If you're saying he like especially against Kansas City because he had 2 catches for 35 yards, I would disagree with that too. But I do think he's alive right now. Jeremiah Chavez says, I can't believe I forgot that I know the solution to the Brevin Jordan problem. The Beck man, Andrew Beck. Bring him home, Nick. Hook him. Is he alive still?
I don't even know where he's on the Jets. Officially listed as a fullback, by the way, no longer fullback / tight end.
320 says, I don't trust Metchie to perform in a game. I think that's fair. Evan says, any word on Joe Mixon? Don't know.
Would you lean towards right now that there's like at some point no news is bad news, but at some point no news is good news too. Like if they don't check him out and find out it's worse, like that's good.
I think it's weird that the ESPN like fantasy rankings have him at like 24th. Like if they thought he was going to play from the jump, I just don't. That just seems a little bit wild. I don't know. We'll wait for A-Dub with the report. Trill Kick X says, I bet you Landry Daughter
can throw better than
Mertz. Yeah, that sounded really disrespectful there for a minute. Just kidding. I
think Trill does a lot of driving when he's sending these, and I appreciate
that. I respect that. If cut day was today, which tight ends are making the team?
Hold on, I got to finish talking about Mertz. I hated the draft pick. It's a total waste of a draft pick. He looks like he's terrible. There's a multitude of useful players that it feels like have been somewhat useful for other teams that went after him, and it's annoying that he's on this team.
Yep. Anyway, as far as Mertz goes, he's always sucked. There's never been a time when he hasn't. I do support, though, taking quarterbacks like in the 5th, 6th round. I do support like just kicking tires like that. I don't oppose it. It's just that ain't the one.
Well, they kicked the big wheel.
Well, they tried to. I didn't want to give him credit for this because I didn't want to like blame him for it. But it felt kind of like a forced storyline in the draft where some people were saying, well, he has a history with Gerard Johnson. And I'm like, dude, Gerard's been doing Elite 11 or whatever, those camps for like a long ass time period. So anytime like some quarterback worked at a camp with Gerard Johnson, like we don't have to act like that's why they're drafting him. And I'm not going to put the Mertz pick on Gerard Johnson. I'm not going to do that. I'll just act like he had nothing to do with that. And I don't think that they would do that.
And if they felt like they needed a backup quarterback, they should have prioritized an undrafted free agent, use the pick for something else.
Yep. All right. It is that time. This was an eventful practice. So we had like 42 minutes of breakdown of it. But the moral of the story is I think John Metchie is alive. I think he is facing off with Watson right now. He might be the one that won't die. Dameon Pierce and Christian Harris are getting action with the ones. And Blake Fisher, is he still second team or not? Because we saw Titus Howard initially, and then maybe it was a planned rest day. Who knows? But he continued to stink. Let's just make that very clear. He continued to stink like he has the whole time. So without further ado, it is time for the SNL 53-man exercise 2.0. Last time, we had some interesting decisions to make. This time it's going to be even tougher because there is no Brevin Jordan and some other guys have emerged. So we go ahead and put CJ Stroud and Davis Mills at the QBs. We're good to go there. We got 2 QBs now. We will not be keeping Mertz or Slovis on our 53-man rosters. So apologies in advance for the fans of those 2. Running back. Now, is Joe Mixon, do we want to do this as if Joe Mixon's going to start the season inactive, or do we want to do this as if Joe Mixon is going to be the guy?
I would do this right now as if Joe Mixon's going to play week 1.
Okay, so put Joe Mixon on there then. Do we put Dare on there right now?
Well, I know we can put Woody on there.
Woody's on there.
I would put Dare on this roster.
Okay. And then I would put Dameon Pierce.
I would also put Dameon Pierce.
So I'm cutting Nick Chubb. Been nice.
Is this it? These are just 4 running backs?
Let's come back to it.
Okay, so
Come back to it because they could keep Chubb if they wanted to. And I do wonder if maybe British Brooks could play his way onto it. I don't think Jawar Jordan and Taylor have a chance in hell.
I would agree with that.
So maybe Brooks on special teams. Let's see what the numbers do to us, but let's keep 4 backs for now.
Okay.
So we're up to 6. So we have 47 spots. Let's knock out the 3 special team spots, and that'll give us 9.
It's 3 special teamers. We know that's going to be the case. They haven't brought in anybody to challenge Austin Brinkman, so he's this long snapper.
That dude still gets carded, man.
Let's go knock out some defense here.
All right, so we got 9. So let's knock out the DNs. Let's go ahead and put Anderson
and Hunter. And Darrell Taylor. Excuse me. Derek Barnett.
Yes. Should we put Derek Barnett on? Yeah, let's put Derek Barnett.
And then there's really kind of only one spot left.
I guess you got to go Horton. Birdman's lost his momentum.
Correct.
So you got to go Horton. He's a big special teams part of what they do. So there's the 5 ends. And it's tough because right now we don't know what's up with Danico Autry. I don't know if we're going to see him or what. So it's kind of tough with Danico Autry where you have him on PUP.
Let's put him in there and let's make him a
red.
Let's make him a red.
Okay. Yeah, put him in red.
Because there's a chance he just starts on PUP.
Yeah, there's a chance. So then we go to DT. Foley Fatukasi's back. I don't know if he's necessarily a factor yet. So we got to go for DT. We got to go Rankins, Settle,
Edwards.
Put the number on the DN too. So that's 14.
I mean, the way D'Amico Ryans talked about Tommy Togiai, how is he not?
Yeah, he's on.
So we're looking for that last spot, and I got to imagine that's probably Foley Fatukasi.
Yeah, has to be.
I mean, Kurt Hinish is nobody's seen Kurt Hinish. Nobody knows if Kurt Hinish exists anymore.
He does not. He's gone.
So it's not him, and Fatukasi's more experienced and more of a run stopper than Junior Tafuna. So he gets the nod there.
Yeah.
Okay. Where to next?
Let's go to the linebackers, and let's put Azeez Al-Shire on there.
Al-Shire, Christian Harris,
Henry To'o,
and EJ Speed.
Yes. And then let's come back to the decision between Hanson, Neiman, Hill, because I actually think it's a lot closer than we may realize.
We do the corners.
Yeah, let's do the corners. We have Stingley,
Kamar Lassiter, the Smiths, Jalen Smith, Tremont Smith. You want to leave it at that right now and come back to it?
Leave it at that right now because you have Miles Bryant. Damon Arnett's a no. Ross is probably not. And yeah, and you kind of don't need to worry about much more there. Safety, Bullock and Petrie are both in.
Bullock, Petrie.
I guess CJ Gardner-Johnson starts off on the roster, right?
I guess there's certainly a chance for that.
Okay, put him on there. MJ Stewart too. Put CJ Gardner-Johnson on there. Let's just say he's ready to go.
You want to say that he's good to go day one?
He's good to go.
Okay.
And then put Jalen Smith in red.
Jalen Reed,
excuse me.
Okay. So Jalen Reed.
Although he's getting a little anxious on the sidelines too. You can tell he wants to be out there. He's got that Christian Harris can't drop the football vibe. So let's put the numbers up and let's see how many we have right now on defense.
Okay, well, we only kept 4 safeties. And right now, we only have 4 linebackers, and we only have 4 corners.
All right, 4-4-4. All right, so let's go do the offense.
And we got some room to play with here as we figure
We have
this all out.
25, so we have 25, 29, 31. So we have 22 spots left. 22.
I'm putting Jakob Johnson on this team. He's making the team.
Yeah, because he can play tight end too.
Yep.
All right, so let's do the tight ends. Let's put Schultz and Stover.
Okay.
That's it. And then Jakob. I mean, we can't make up. There's no one. There's no one that's going to make the 53. Jakob's T3. So that's basically what you're at with.
I just have such a hard time thinking they're going to carry just 2 tight end bodies. Like I know Jakob can play tight end, and I would consider him, yes, tight end 3. But just having like that having the physical body of one more tight end, it just feels like they're going to do that.
They'll have it, but it just won't be on the original 53. I mean, they'll have it. It'll be somebody. It'll be like Irv Smith or Lachey or whatever. They'll have it. It's just not going to be on the 53. I don't think. So then we have Collins, Kirk, Higgins, Knoll, Hutchinson. Now we got to decide, do they keep Berrios? Do they keep Metchie? Do they keep Watson? Maybe they just keep 6 receivers now.
I would say Berrios is on.
Okay. So let's decide about Metchie, but let's do the O-line first because we got 9 O-linemen. We have a pretty good idea of who they are, even though it's not great. Cam Robinson, Ariante Ursary.
I'm going left to right here initially.
Okay. So Robinson, Tomlinson, Andrews.
And then Titus,
and Ariante
Ursary. Patterson's the
6.
center backup.
6. And then
I mean, he's going to make the team.
All right, Fisher, there's 7. And then I think Juice Scruggs is on.
And Scruggs?
Yeah, I think Scruggs is on.
So this alignment is one light on tackle, but it's really not if you think about it as Titus as the backup right tackle. So that's why you would keep an extra guard versus keep an extra tackle because Titus counts as both.
So now we have...
And that's 9. D'Amico Ryans very clearly
9.
said 9.
So we have 9. We have 11, 15, 16, 20, 22 on offense. And how many on defense?
12, 22.
It's 25, dude.
Well, special teams isn't defense.
Okay. All right. That's 25 on the screen. 25. And then go up.
35, 41.
49. We have 4 spots. We have 4 spots left.
Okay.
You got it. You're gonna have to add a linebacker. It's just a matter of which one.
They're gonna add one linebacker and one defensive back.
So which linebacker?
I'm putting Miles Bryant on the corners.
Okay.
Especially because he can play a little safety. And then for linebacker, I'm putting Neiman.
Neiman instead of Hansen, I can see that. I think EJ Speed and Neiman, the combination has kind of made Hansen pretty disposable.
Well, and you got to think about this. Christian Harris doesn't play special teams. Henry To'oTo'o plays a little bit, like very small bit. Speed can play a lot of special teams, and Neiman is special teams ace, and that's why you brought him here. Hansen obviously plays a lot of special teams. I don't know that he would go into the special teams ace category. So we've got two we got two roster spots left, right?
Yes, and we're thinking about another running back and another wide receiver. Those are the strongest thoughts right now. I think you got to really consider British Brooks. And the reason is because I think he can do other things, and he's also someone that they trust on special teams.
They do play him in some key special team spots. He's on first team punt coverage. So one roster spot left. Could they just, I mean, could they go into the season with just those 6 wide receivers and call it a day?
They could. I mean, who are we talking about right now? We're talking about Metchie, Hansen.
Metchie versus Watson versus Hansen versus Irv Smith.
I
mean, I don't think they could take Metchie if they're going to have. I don't think they could take Metchie. They just need another special teams body. Like if they had Metchie on this roster, he'd be inactive on game day.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. I think Arthur Maulette has a chance too.
So just another defensive back.
Yeah, I think Arthur Maulette has a chance too. But I mean, it might be too much. But maybe they like the versatility because he's playing. The other thing you got to factor in is whoever we add here is going to get cut for either for perhaps Autry or
Let's do this. Let's give him 6 linebackers.
Okay.
Let's give him 6 linebackers, and then that eliminates initially our conversation about. I mean, I very much believe they're going to have a third body at tight end. I don't know who that guy's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Lachey. I don't know if it's going to be Irv Smith. I don't know if it's going to be somebody that they bring in. It's not going to be Dalton Keene. But if from an argument standpoint, they don't consider Jakob Johnson as just a fullback, they consider him as the third tight end, then that makes the roster composition tidier. British Brooks plays so much special teams for them. I have a hard time thinking he's not making the team.
Yeah, I could see them maybe doing that. There's a number of ways in which this could go. Some are saying that Irv Smith makes the team. My question is why? Like what?
Are you just putting a body on the squad just to have a body on the squad?
Yeah, I don't like. Where's Irv Smith going to go? Like, I don't.
It's not. I mean, if Irv Smith got healthy in the next couple of days and came in and was playing on special teams, like I could see it, but I can't see it right now. And Lachey hasn't done enough.
Yeah, Lachey's a no for me, dog. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what we got right now. British Brooks is on the team. John Metchie is out. Embrace debate. Let us know where we screwed it up. You could put Irv Smith. You could have figured something out. We kept a little more linebackers. You got to factor in. They got to replace the special teams links, our special team skills of Brevin Jordan as well.
If you want to look at the 53 man that we just put together, I'll put the link in the chat. You can watch it, or you can go on there and look at it.
Biggest troublemaker in town. Good Lord. Say hi. Yeah, good job.
What was she getting into?
She's just messing with the desk. Now she's pointing to herself. All right. Did the offense stack 2 days? The answer would be no.
No, the answer would be hell no.
The answer would be no. Do you think Irv Smith deserves to be on the 53? Avery. Irv Smith? Irv Smith?
Yes or no?
Irv Smith, yes or no? Don't ask me. Irv Smith, yes or no? All right. You want to go night-night? You want to go night-night?
Oh, talking about Irv Smith tired her out.
You want to go night-night? All right. Anyway, she got jacked up off that chocolate. I got her one of those chocolate things from the food thing, and she's all geeked up now. Anyway. All right. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to ride along. Be sure to always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.